Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are here, and once again, it is our great pleasure to be in your reality. Now, ideally, you have been integrating all that we have suggested. When you don't integrate, you deflect, you push off, or you dissociate, or you busy yourself with something else. We cannot emphasize enough the opportunity you have here in Sedona to go to a much higher level. It supports you. And second of all, there is definitely a state of urgency to get through to you how important it is to make the necessary changes in your lives. If, as someone said, we sound frustrated, it is because we have said it over and over again. And too many of you are not taking it in, or are not willing to make the changes that are necessary to provide you with, let's say, the future that you are here to help establish. Just remember that. We do not know everything. There are some things that are out of our interest or our realm of understanding, perhaps. Nonetheless, we do have vistas of reality from the future coming into your now, and we can see things and explain things that you as humans do not understand and do not at this point have the capability of reaching into. It is our intention all these years not to waste our time. Yet it is always our intention to have a grand time when we come into your reality. We enjoy speaking with the Hughes, as we call you. And we know the large majority of you are excited to speak to us. But let's make it worthwhile. We would like this morning, early afternoon, to take you to realms of consciousness that perhaps through explanation and experience open up new possibilities of what's available for you. It's essential to understand that there's a bit of deconstructing going on your world. And there's multiple intentions, multiple players. You use the term agendas. And there are also many versions of Earth. And there are also many versions of the future. And some psychics, prognosticators, remote viewers, whatever, may tap into a probable future and see, well, this is inevitable, this is going to come down the pike. And yet the most important factor in understanding how the future is selected is dependent upon the impulses, the feelings, the beliefs and agreements, or the changes that any or all individuals make. The future is not written inevitably in stone. The Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came, they create prophecy, as we suggested yesterday, as a way of managing your world. You are one of their colonies, they come and they go. They live, some of them, millions of years. They have learned how to extend life. All Anunnaki do not live millions of years. Just as you on Earth, most of you have access to money, but we said yesterday 1% in 2016 declares they own 50% of the Earth's wealth. So it is in the Anunnaki hegemony hierarchy that those at the top have privilege to what you would call technological advancements that allow them to develop abilities, to extend their lives, etc., etc. This whole issue of immortality. So there are problems in their realms, and the problems in their realms are now being reflected in your realms. Everything is, in a certain extent, in flux and being dismantled. And the Anunnaki, as we suggested yesterday, their greatest fear is mutiny. And 250,000 years ago approximately is when their workers mutinied in the mines. And that's when the primitive worker was created. Now the key in that Enki left, the gift, a back door, as we said, into the biological computer of humankind to make adjustments, tweaks. And in order for all of this to flourish, and as this awareness is flourishing, even if you do nothing but sit in your property and think about it, as you become aware, you begin to dismantle the system because you don't believe in it. As soon as you believe in something, you energize it. As soon as you stop believing in it, you stop energizing it. Without saying a word, you change everything. Is this understood?
Yes.
Yes. You hear it. We don't know if you understand it, but you hear it. This is your power. The power of choice. The power of the decision to live. I'm going to live peacefully. I'm going to live securely. I want to live in such a way that I do not have to be concerned about working hard and money and everything. I'm willing to work, but I am going to accumulate a sense of security and plenty that I enjoy. You are here to elevate the human experience by demonstrating it, not to have anyone fix you, save you, or to rely on government programs, although we will say little assistance here and there, especially if you paid into some of the social systems. It is your due. But let's say that the financial flux that is occurring could wipe out a lot of the stability that many people are relying on. And certainly, just a bit of a digression here, if you are in the stocks and bonds markets, it's time to exit quickly, because they just boosted the market up again, and that's only for the election year to trick the people. They have all manner of ways of manipulating the system, but it is a highly likely, probable future that you are going to face worldwide financial problems, larger than certainly the Great Recess that you just are finishing or just still in, and certainly to exceed what you called in the 20s and 30s the Great Depression. This is greed run amok to the extreme. Greed run amok. Now, it does not mean the end of the world. It does not mean that you are going to be devastated. What this means is that a deconstruction, a dismantling, because of criminality, because of bad energy, because of rotten construction and cheating and lying, and because people are checking out and they don't want to pay attention, there's no energy to support a wholesome system now. The system is rotten. It's going to be dismantled, ideally with grace. It is undergoing a dismantling since about 2007, 2008, when Pluto crossed the galactic center and then now has been dismantling the Capricornian structure, and that will continue until about 2024, 2025. All systems, all businesses, everything that is run as business for people, whether it is bus lines, railroads, airplanes, lawn services, businesses, must operate with integrity and complete good of the people and the land. All of those that do not are going to find big, big problems. All the misuse of energy, Monsanto, the poisons, everything, it's all not in the highest good of the, let's say, quality of life of the earth, the people, and the plants. And Anunnaki are not honoring the highest quality of life. So you have a ringside seat, friends, for probable events that are such of a dramatic nature. This is why the planet is full. People want to be here. And then they get here and they say, well, who's going to save me? Where are the safe zones? Where can I escape this? And this is a reflection of something you all fall prey to. When you are not in the body, you say, oh, piece of cake, I'll go down there, I'll incarnate, I'll take on this body, I'll select that family, this looks like it is good. And then you get down here, and it's not quite the same. Looking at it is very different than being in it. And then there's the problem of remembering. And a society that does not encourage you to recollect why you have come in or when you have been here before. You know all of this. We want less whining. You are privileged. You are privileged because you are smart enough to know that something's going on. You are privileged because you are safe. You have monies to find things out. And we are doing our very, very best to give you as much as we can in a short amount of time to bring you up to snuff and beyond. What do you get when you whine? The field of existence hears the whining. And then it answers your call. And then things start to fall apart. You follow what we are saying? The power of words, the power of ideas, the power of intention. I cannot emphasize enough the necessity for you to focus on what you do want. Because as you want, you start to create. And again, we will say you never have to know how what you want is going to happen. But it is a real good idea to set some instructions out there. The multiverse, universe, what you want to call it, the field of existence, we like that term because it applies right here to now. The field of existence feels, knows, and senses all of your emotions. So say you are a coward, or you are shy, or you are afraid, and you want something, and you want it, and you want it, and you want it, and you don't know how to get it, but you don't really want it, because you're afraid of it. So you pretend you want it, and you do a little here, and you say, I didn't get what I want. You do a little here. I'm not getting what I want. It's because you are not doing what needs to be done to get what you want. And sometimes, in order to get what you want, you have to clear out the detritus of dead wood, old agreements, finish up old obligations. And you have to have some courage. If you are meek and timid, and you cannot speak, or you're afraid to speak, or afraid to confront those who pester you or who make you sick, you're not going to succeed. Success is moving through and dealing with what you fear. And usually it's the fear of dealing with it that's much bigger than the actual dealing. So to avoid the dealing, is to whine and then to say, I'm not getting what I want. It's because you don't really want what you think you want. You're happy whining. Awareness is about self-reflection. If you are going to have a pity party, then at least say, I'm whining, I'm exaggerating, I'm having a pity party. That's fine, because then you are taking ownership. But when you act as if you don't know why something's not happening, it's because you are in denial. And denial is very subtle. It's comfortable. It's a place that people like to retreat to. I don't know why. I don't know why. Of course you know why. Every single one of you knows why and what you have to do. But you're afraid to do it. You're afraid to quit the job, confront the partner, sister, family, mother, father, grannies, neighbors, and to work out, in some capacity, a state of peace. To recognize what you are and are not available for, and to say to those, I'm not comfortable with this any longer, and I appreciate you, but I'm not doing it anymore. This sets you free. When you make your intentions known, it sets you free. It may not make the others happy at all. It may rile them up and make them very, very angry with you. But when you clear your space, it's yours that's clear. And then what you want has room to come in. We're not advocating for you to break up your families, your relationships, your workplaces. But if you really want something, you're going to have to get rid of what's stopping you or acting as a tyranny over you. And many of you have given too much power away to other people rather than claiming your own. So, that's our message for you this morning. Takes ownership. It is the spring equinox. The energy is running. The sun is in Aries. The moon is shifting now from Leo, party city yesterday, to Virgo. Let's get a little more serious, get down to detail, and let's make good progress about how to operate one of these magnificent biological beings that you all own. That said, let's open it up to super brilliant questions this early afternoon. All right, who would like to begin, please?
Hi, Peace.
Hello, who is it?
This is Hezekiah. My question is, there is so much information out there that we can learn. Our spirit animals, zodiac signs, past life trauma, etc., that it can be easy to get lost in the information. Would you be so kind to distill for us what is important to learn at this time? What is priority?
How to operate your physical body. You see, the disadvantage that the YouTubers newly awakened have is that you don't have the luxury of the nano and time to study things slowly, to do the sweat lodges, to get in touch with spirit animals, to work with crystals, to spend a year being Rolfed. Those who spent years exploring this are going to be far more grounded and sensible and integrated than those of you who are just waking up, realizing how many choices there are, and knowing you can only eat a few at the buffet. Right now, it is essential to as little electronics as possible. How many times do we have to say it? We will keep saying it. As little electronics as possible. More time in nature, clear intentions, and working with the body. Spine, breath, activating the body. There are some good books about spirit animals. And we do recommend you begin to notice what's going on around you. So in this way, as you are not looking at devices, you're not checking the time, you're not addicted, checking everything. Let's say that you put your cell phones away and you dare to go out for a day or two without the devices. And you start to notice cardinals. Or maybe a baby quail runs across your path. Or you see here in Sedona, what do they have? The javelinas. If you go out at night and you are a bit up on the mesa or someplace outside the city, you may see the big wild pigs come out of the brush. And then you get a book and you say, wow, I'm going to look up the wild pig or javelina, or I will look up cardinal. And you start to notice what you see in nature, and then check the book at home. You have to do it all, but you don't have the time to take a great study, and we know you have work to do and many other things to cooperate. So one of the best reflections you can offer yourself is at the end of the day, when you are laying down for your evening sleep, do a bit of recapitulation. You can intend to work out things in the dream state, of course. You can intend wellness or to be prepared for tomorrow, etc. But you can also think about the day and the progress you made and where you didn't do so great. And we would say the more you condition your space, the happier you are going to be. And this involves discipline, the dreaded D word. With no discipline, you are sheets flapping in the wind. You understand? You have to have discipline. You have to be able to make intentions and do the more difficult things. And that is mind-body connection. You must eat better, all of you. You must hydrate more and more. Again, the hydration creates the movement of energy and the electrical energies within the physical form. By conditioning the space, we would say, you have something out there in your world called sticky notes. You know what they are? Yes, of course. You get yourself a little packet of the favorite color you want sticky notes. And you put it next to your bed. And when you wake up in the morning, you take a pen, and of course, if you are a dream recorder, it's a good time in the morning to record your dreams. This is a wonderful way to advance your consciousness, but some people don't get many dreams, or some get too many dreams, and they find it takes a long, long time. If you are a big dreamer, just jot down in your dream journal a few words that are triggering from the dream state. A few words can do it. Dream journaling is very important. But that sticky note, when you wake up, you are getting ready, after you go to the bathroom and do your morning libations and things, think about what you want. And write down on that small little sticky note, not the tiniest ones, but not too big, the kind of day you want. Our vehicle shared some of her words with you. She would say, this is going to be a super smooth good day. Or a day of excellence. A day of surprises and very, very productive. You're getting the gist of what we are saying? This is called conditioning the space. You are already writing out how you want the energy to be that you are going to meet. You can put anything down you want, anything. And then on that list, if you like, you then may jot down some of the duties or tasks that you are required to accomplish in that day. And you may not know how you are going to fit it all in, but write them down. And you always affirm in your mind, it's going to be everything more than fine, and it will all come together in a remarkable order of achievement. And then you go about your life. This takes a few minutes. But if you do not have a few minutes to condition your space, then don't expect any kind of anything to happen. In order to make this work, you have to put time into it. And we give you the simplest of assignments that a third grader, in most cases, could carry out. Drink water, breathe, tap, spin. You understand it? But you adults get too lazy. And you want to know, where's the money coming from? Where are the safe places? And then you wonder why we are frustrated? STUPID. That's why. Who has a good question?
Peace.
Yes.
My name's Amy.
Right here we heard a piece.
This is Ruth.
Ruth, yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
What's your question?
Does our vote count?
No. That was very succinct. You know, for however. They threw it for Kennedy. His father bought the votes from the Mayor Daley over there in Chicago, which is a very, very corrupt area. So if Kennedy cheated and had things changed, then you had Scalia, who just mysteriously was demised. He threw the election on the, what was it called, the hanging chads, back when it was Gore versus Bush, and he said, no, we'll throw out Gore, it's going to be Bush. Your vote is maybe in local elections, but and this time around, you're going to have a lot of shenanigans. And do not be surprised if the players that are being paraded before you now all do a disappearing act. In other words, Shrillery is not in good standing at all. She's under a lot of investigation. And she's squeaked through so many times, along with her husband. In all fairness, and this is not a prejudiced statement, the Clintons have created so many treasons against this country, they could have been put in prison 20 years ago, both of them. What does this say? That this is one of your choices, criminals. Both players that are prominent now could easily disappear, and you will get some, what they call legerdemain, sleight of hand, and then in chaos, do not be surprised if some old war horses are trotted out, and the choices are the same old nonsense, one dynasty or another, and this will push people to the limit. What else, Ruthie?
Are we on the brink of a mutiny or a dismantling as a result of this election?
This election, Ruth wants to know, are you on the brink of a mutiny or a dismantling with this election? You see, there is danger when people find out that things aren't as they were told. Now, most of you, when you found out young, very young, that the fairy godmother, the Easter bunny, Santa Claus, you were mature enough that you didn't overreact. And you sort of played along with it. Maybe some of you are a bit disappointed, but it's not the same, because you got something from the Easter bunny, fairy godmother, and Santa Claus by believing. By believing in the deceptions today, you're not winning at all. And Uranus, again, is the awakener in Aries, spring. And now that spring has sprung, today, it's going to be very, very, it's going to stir things up, big time, very, very big time. And you are on the verge of a volatility coming out in this country. This is why we say, folks, there's no time to waste. You are stabilizers. Wake up, stabilize. As you wake up, telepath, and stabilize your understanding of what's going on, that people have a choice to get smarter or to destroy what they think has taken advantage of them. Always choose getting smarter. broadcast that by getting smarter yourself and going to a higher level. Our long-term students, Ruthie and all of you who have been with us for years, you are being propelled today to go to a higher level. And it will unfold in 3 days at the full moon solar eclipse. And expect major changes, major awareness, major understanding, the pieces coming together quickly for you. So you are in dismantling, you are in mutiny. Ideally, as you awaken, you stabilize, and it will happen gracefully, without great calamity and destruction. Understand that, please. Anything else, Ruth?
Thank you.
Questions?
Hi, Priyatans. Hi, Priyatans.
We hear some mouse in the back of the room, but get right up here if you want to talk to us. Otherwise, we're not going to shout back to someone who's going, "Hi, Pleiadians." We can't hear you.
My voice is very small. Hi, Pleiadians.
Hello. What's your question? Who are you?
I'm Laura from
Laura.
France.
All right, welcome. Very brave of you. Of course, it's not comfortable to come stand in front of everyone else. You can close your eyes if you want to, just like us. It's easier. It's fine. You will be more relaxed. They will laugh and they will think it's funny. What's your question, Laura?
Okay. My question is about etheric pregnancies.
About
Etheric pregnancies?
etheric pregnancies.
Yes. Abductions and women who are pregnant in the ether,
Yes.
not physical.
Yes.
Could you please explain exactly how they do that and how to stop if we are concerned by this problem?
Is this your problem?
I've been, yes, through this
Do you understand why it's your problem?
because of my DNA.
Because you have a little voice, you don't know how to say no.
Yes.
Did you hear what she said? Did you hear what she said? Did you hear what we said? We said, do you know what your problem is? She said, no. We said, it's because you have a little voice and you don't know how to say no. And she said, super quiet, yes. That's the answer to your question. You have no boundaries. And you have probably DNA that has been studied and is of some interest, and we would say, you may go back to your seat if you like. We don't mean for you to stand up here. This is very brave of you. Thank you, Laura. But this is a huge issue for many of you. No boundaries. And no boundaries leads very often to sexual abuse. And many people who have no boundaries have had sexual abuse. You have to learn to say no on the soul level. So etheric pregnancies, how do they do this? These abductions and the genetic experimentation are nothing new on the planet. If you read our second book, it is called Earth, Pleiadian Keys to the Living Library. This is a living library, a laboratory, an experiment. It is a repository for life forms. If life forms were so prevalent, you would know about them. And there's certainly life forms out there. But as you are figuring out, it's pretty vast territory. And if you don't have the modes of traveling it and the physiognomy not to be destroyed by cosmic radiation, you can accomplish a lot. The reptilians, and this is including the Anunnaki, have in their DNA an ability to be less affected by cosmic radiation. This is why they can create large empire, and they have learned how, again, to extend their life, just as your reptiles on Earth can have great longevity. So, Earth is studied. Family lines are tracked for thousands and thousands of years. DNA, eggs, sperm have been extracted. In general, this occurs, as Laura mentioned, in the etheric realm, in the dream state. And people can be pregnant in another reality that is connected with this body. Usually an egg is extracted from the physical body, or a sperm, and planted in, as you say, an etheric version of the self. And then new life forms are being generated and trained, transplanted, transferred to other places. Some of you have been producing life forms that are taken away and used as chattel someplace else. How do you stop this? You see why we say it is so urgent for you to be in the body, to take ownership of it, and to understand how to use it? We would say most of the people on the planet are clueless about how to use their body. Just because you have one does not mean anything. The soul comes in, and then it has no idea what to do with it. Without boundary issues, and without psychic ability to see into the other dimensions, humankind has been preyed upon for many millennia. This is why we say the urgency of waking up today psychically is essential. And as each of you moves up a notch, you send out signals, and then others way, way down move up a notch. As things become more crucial, and as the truths are revealed, it frightens you. Because Laura's question makes all of you think, have my sperm and egg been taken? Have I been abused? I'm not good at saying no. Am I part of this genetic process? Without boundaries, you are. So, Laura, for you need to speak to the ceiling. And you need to swear at them a little bit, perhaps. A good few damns out of your mouth might be shocking to your family's DNA. And say, damn it, I'm not available for this. And then every person in your life that you don't say no to, you start cleaning up. Do you understand?
Yes.
That was a louder yes. That was You're brave. You're very brave. We like the brave. We like the brave. Because sometimes in your naivete, you end up being more courageous than you think you are. And you end up touching on something that everyone else says, oh, I'm glad it's not me. She's really getting it from the peas. Someone has to get it. How else can we communicate how foolish you are at times? We do not want you to become the fools of the future. We want you to be the smart ones. So clear out in life and start graciously saying no. And if you have to say a few swear words now and again, it may do you good. And then to those beings, I am no longer available. This is it, finished. I am building 2 protectors, and they are 12 feet tall. And they are my constructs in the ether. They are my protectors, and they are going to protect me when I sleep, and nothing is going to touch me. Everything banished from my room. Cloak of protection. Aura, aura, aura. Ground. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. If you have to say that once an hour for the next year, if that's what it takes for you to be taken seriously, then do it. Because eventually, what you mean will be your word. But many of you say, you do something for a little while, then you fall back to your old patterns. Who has a question?
Peace, this is Ben.
Ben, welcome. Loud and clear.
I just wanted to thank you for coming here again.
They can't hear you in the back of the room.
I just wanted to thank you for coming here.
All right, good.
I do have a question. In an earlier taping, stuff that I've listened to by you guys before, you mentioned before the flood, the humans were called Lulus.
Well,
And-
Not necessarily, one could say that the original primitive worker
Right.
that was constructed in East Africa with Enki and his sister Ninma Mami, the original name was called the Lulu.
Right. And then another thing I had listened to you,
Louder, they can't hear you in the back of the room.
another taping I had listened to, you mentioned that you were talking about Anu and Enlil and Enki, the brother, his sons.
Yes.
That how did he become the great father in heaven? And you said that he won a wrestling match and he had wrestled
Alalu.
Alalu. And I just thought, well, that's really interesting because that would mean that, you know, that prior time, that's why they were probably called that. And then I was listening to some stuff that some Islams were saying, and I realized as they were praising Allah, just something went off in me, just that
Lulu, Alalu, Allah.
Exactly, all of this together, meaning that, and they just have such a disdain, it seems. Now, I'm not being racist here, such a disdain for almost all other religions, and always claiming that everyone else's gods are not the right God, which made me think, well, that's interesting. So this Alalu lost the wrestling match, and maybe this was the god that the Muslim people, and that's why there's such a, I don't know what I'm actually asking.
All right, let
It's
us-
a very interesting wondering, and this all came together, and I thought, wow.
All right, we'll clarify it for you. Alalu, we covered some of this yesterday, so
Oh, sorry.
we've already laid out a bit of groundwork. That's all right. Alalu was lost the match. He was deposed by Anu, and he fled in his rocket ship, and he fled with nuclear weapons. He nuked his way through the asteroid belt, what is called the Hammered Bracelet, came to Earth. And the records act as if, oh wow, we just found Earth, never heard of it before. Lie. The Anus, and that's their general name, but of course it was not Anu in charge, but this race of beings had visited the Earth over many millions of years. Your scientifics will say that it appears that nothing was really going on Earth until about 500 million years ago, and suddenly life happened everywhere. Yet in some research that's all over the planet, forbidden archaeology, etc., manufactured artifacts have been found in rock strata billions of years old. Footprints of giant structures have been found in rock strata hundreds of millions of years old. So the Anus pretending, leaving the record of Alalu coming here, lands in the Persian Gulf, finds gold. He's in big trouble with the Anunnaki. He calls them up on the wireless. He says, I found gold. The Anu says, well, we need gold. And he sends Enki, his son, about 1 year later, an Anu year. So this is interesting, that Alalu lands here, and about 4,000 years later, Enki shows up. All right, what was Alalu doing here? But this is their story. Lots of holes. Swiss cheese. Then they forgive Alalu because he found the gold, and then it didn't work out, and Enki couldn't extract enough gold. So then the big problems arise, and Anu says, we really need this gold, and so I'm going to send my other son Enlil, and he's going to run the command. Ooh, then everything starts falling apart, because again, he runs the space command, and they move the excavation to Africa, and they start the mining. And then the story goes on. Eventually, 200,000 years later, you get the mutiny, because the 50 or 100 or whatever number it is, 300, they are working in the mines and they mutiny. But before that, when Alalu was forgiven, he then betrayed once again. and he stole something. They let him into mission control or something, which in the old days was in the Mesopotamian Valley. After the flood, mission control moved to Jerusalem. A flood, again, being about 13,000 years ago. So he steals the Mies, and these are basically very sophisticated smartphones, dumb phones, that only a few of the Anunnaki could have. And the Me was interactive with the owner. It was not as you have your devices, you push buttons. This device had all the records how to do everything, but it was also more alive. It was perhaps a term we could use, living crystal. And these beings have minds of magnificence, and it is the mind connection. So today, when you mimic the Anunnaki and wear gold, or wear diamonds, or have your devices in your hands that you are addicted to, this is all Anunnaki mimicking. They don't have to push buttons. They must use their mind in conjunction with this living crystal. Alalu stole these Mies. And he was not the first. The Anunnaki used to fight among each other to steal the Mies from one. If you had the Mies, you could run the system. You were the top honcho. He got in big trouble. They caught him. And along with his valet, we will say, we forget the name of his valet. Along with his valet, or perhaps it was his pilot, he was banished to Mars. And it was said that there he spent his days on Mars, isolated, while one of Enlil's sons, or grandsons, Shamash, ran along with Ninurta. Ninurta is also Apollo. They ran the space program from Moon to Mars. And it is said in their records now that Alalu died on Mars. And after he died, his pilot or valet, whatever it was, returned to Earth and said this is in the records now, that he made a memorial on Mars for Alalu. And it is reported that the face on Mars is the memorial that the pilot made for Alalu. Now, Alalulu, Alalu. There is a river, the Urubamba. In other words, that is in Peru. You start to see the sounds and the syllables. Now, who is Allah? Who is the God of Allah? There are reports by some that the God Allah could possibly be the Anunnaki called Sin, S-I-N, or Sin, sometimes it is pronounced. And this is the moon god. And this would be the son of Enlil. Enlil, En meaning the name Lord, or sometimes command, that Enlil appears to be the God who says, you must obey me, here are my rules. The one supreme God, that his voice is Enlil, not Anu. Not Anu. And then the fight is over which son has the opportunity to be the son of the god. Is it Ninurta? Does Ninurta run a religion? Does Sin run a religion? Does Adad run a religion? Then Marduk, the son of Enki, he wants to be the god of religions. So there's a tremendous amount of confusion, but understand that each of these gods of the Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, Judaic, Muslim, each one of the gods that you are praying to, or the believers pray to, are one branch or another of the Anunnaki families. There is no doubt. And the Anunnaki rule by divide and conquer. They keep their realms confused. And they set one culture, one religion against each other. Now just imagine, let's play a game here. Let's imagine. It's a wonderful game. You can keep your eyes open for it. You know darn well that the Vatican is a repository of a vast amount of old ancient planetary records. And about 1500, 500 years ago, or 2 Pluto cycles to the galactic center back, Ignatius Loyola came on the scene and founded the Jesuits, the Soldiers of Jesus or some such. And then they began to spread all over the world and to go and to rape and pillage and gather up the artifacts, the gold, the calendars from all around the world. Most particular, this was carried out in South America, where the conquistadores, as they were called, the adventurers, the priests, the Catholic priests who came with them, were appalled at what they found. In their own hubris, they assumed that the cross and Christianity and the God were theirs. Civilization, writing, all of this, they thought it was theirs. And then they go to this area of primitiveness. And they meet the Aztecs, the Incas. Later the Incas. They meet the Aztecs, the Mayas. And then the Incas are further down in South America. And they encounter civilization. They encounter king and courts, but more than that. They're shocked that they have the cross. And that they speak of a white lord who had a cross on his shield. They did not know what to do. They gathered all these things up and took them back to the Vatican. So now imagine the Muslims, Islam, the Kaaba in Mecca, Jerusalem, vastly connected with underground chambers that go over to the Great Pyramid. Jerusalem, the old Mission Control Center. The Middle East. Just imagine that people come marching forward, carrying all manner of artifacts, books, and knowledge from every religion. They come into some grand place of safety, and they put these objects and books and ancient artifacts around. You know, it was said that Alexander, about 300 BC, some such in that era, did not live too long, lived to be 33. It was said that he had horns on his head, just as Moses was said to have horns coming out of his head. Alexander believed that he was the son of a god, an Anunnaki, and this is why he created empire. And it was said that on his journey, one of the reasons he went to the city in Egypt, we believe it was then called Heliopolis, the city of the sun, he was shown an Anunnaki spacecraft. And he felt he wanted to meet the gods because the gods had impregnated his mother. It was his belief. And so even in today's world, there's big scuttlebutt about where did that craft disappear to. And there's scuttlebutt that it was taken to Mecca. And of course in Mecca you have the big, what is it called, Kaaba. And no one is allowed inside. So now to this day, perhaps few sneak in to go, but it is very compartmentalized. Just imagine a future, or even in the ether, a dream state situation, where you gather, and you are there watching, and all manner of people from all religions say, here, this is what we have. This is what's been hidden away. What does it really mean? It could be a big healing, you understand? could be a very big healing. The Anunnaki put language in your head. They send language from the sun. A language of light is transmitted on light to the sun, to the pineal gland, and you are controlled by inaudible sound, and this inaudible sound conducts your language forward, where you keep repeating and saying the vowels and symbols of the Anunnaki tongue. Big something to think about. Good question, Ben. Let's move around. Who else has a good question?
Peas,
Over here, Peas, we hear it. Who are you?
Brandy,
Brandy, yes, welcome.
thank you. My question is about the source or the prime creator.
Her question is about the source or prime creator. It's almost unknowable.
Indeed, but would the Peas as well as the Anunnaki, do they worship that? And is there a connection where we can jump over the Anunnaki and access the source?
We recommend no worship.
Okay.
Worship is a waste of time. The Anunnaki taught you worship. Prime creator, source, great spirit, all that is. You are that source. Are you going to get down to your knees to yourself? You are prime creator. You are. This all that is in everything, and it requires no worship. It runs from worship. And yet it will allow the use of itself to grow in awareness. Because it is capable of creation. And then allowing its creation to make more than perhaps prime creator is and was and will be. It is an enigma of sorts. The Zen people have a koan that says the sound of one hand clapping. Sort of a boggler, do you understand? And it's the same thing with prime creator. The simplest way to say it, you are this source. It is in you. This is why you have the power to create if you would use it. Gratitude, generosity, the top. Worship, worship nothing. Respect, honor, but to think that you have to go through something to get to this primary source is a misnomer. You are here to watch this rich dance of energy. And you know, if you get to travel around the world, it's quite thrilling to immerse yourself into cultures that worship and believe, but they're rich and they have rules and they've manifested a lot of things, but the people all are frightened. They're frightened of the God. They think if something doesn't happen, the God's mad at them, and they don't have power. And so they live as if they're afraid to come out from under a rock. That's what worship has given you. You want respect and reverence for all that is. And you can see all that is when you look at the sunset. You can see all that is when that pesky mosquito lands and wants to sneak your blood. You understand?
Yes.
Good. Do you have anything else, Brandy?
Well,
Loud and clear.
the Peas, they respect and worship the source.
We worship no one.
And not worship, they respect and honor all that is. And so that is a guiding principle for them. And the
We don't understand. It sounds like you are telling us what we do.
No, I'm asking. And you said yes, you're right.
We don't focus on worship. We focus on creativity.
Okay. All right.
You're having a picture that you're projecting onto us that has nothing to do with what we are. At least this group that you are speaking to. You follow?
Yes. Yes.
You are doing classic projection.
Okay.
I'm figuring it must be there, so there it is. That's not what's happening at all. Who has a good question?
Hello, Keith.
Good question, loud and clear.
This is Tamara. Hello.
Tamara,
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you.
What's your question?
As I understand it, the goal that the primitive workers were created for, or rather were created to mine for the earth, was for the planet where the Anunnaki came from, Nibiru, and they needed it in order to turn it into some kind of dust or powder to protect their system, their atmosphere.
Their atmosphere, yes, you've got it, you've got
You
it.
mentioned yesterday, or rather your vehicle mentioned yesterday, that the Anunnaki live underground here, and they also live underground on their planet. So I was wondering what they were protecting if they actually live underground.
Well, they are going to come up to the surface. They want an atmosphere of sorts, do you understand? Even if they are not dwelling on the surface, they still, your atmosphere, your stratosphere, magnetosphere, these are layers of energy that protect the planet from radiation, from many things. So if there's absolutely no outer layers around a system, then it could be subjected to all manner of difficulties. And so layers of atmospheric energies simply shield any planetary body so that it is not swept away. It's a good word to use, swept away, as it moves far, far out into the depths of space. It's challenging to imagine different worlds. And you tend to, again, project how it is on Earth, so then it has to be that way out there. And again, they would use the surface of Nibiru at times, especially when it came into the solar system and it was being activated by the sun. When it enters into your solar system, the path has been between Mars and Jupiter on a 3,600-year orbit or thereabouts. So what else do you want to know?
I think that answers it.
All right, who else has questions?
I have a question.
You are?
My name is Julian.
Can't hear you.
I have a question. My name is Julian.
Julian, welcome.
How do we then turn on the DNA to realize the full potential of these bodies that are born into? And
How do you turn on the DNA?
Correct.
That's a good question. Very good question. People have been asking this forever, but it's a good one to repeat. Some are not worth it and some are. The energies of the times are actually switching on the DNA if you make room for it. And the more you busy up your life with stuff to do, and you fill your head with moving pictures of confusion and nonsense, in other words, the more you want to be entertained electronically versus being informed, no matter how much energy is coming to you, attempting to switch on the DNA, it's not going to be as effective as if you say, I'm going to catch it. And so what you need to do, all of you, is to have time where you are doing nothing. And we give you permission to do nothing. For some people, it's very frightening. And for some people, it's very liberating. You mean I have permission to do nothing? Yes. Make a cup of tea, get a glass of wine, something, make a kombucha drink or a shake or whatever. Go sit down. No electronics. Relax. On a porch, on a lawn chair, take a blanket to the beach, walk to the park, and just watch. Just watch. And see what happens. It's boring, of course. You can take a book if you want to. You can sit with a friend. But when you do nothing, you make room for things to happen. It's very good to do nothing in the sun for a little while. You don't have to be directly in the sun. You can be under an umbrella on a chaise lounge. That's a wonderful picture. You have your iced tea next to you. You might have a good book to read or any other accoutrements that satisfy your moment. And you relax. And you squeeze your toes together and squeeze your fingers together tight as you can. You make a face and then you say, I am allowing all that is and the energy of the multiverse to move through me. and you take your shoes off. A wonderful way to activate your DNA is to walk barefoot on the earth. It will ground you. It will help you integrate the cosmos and the earth. Barefoot on earth is a wonderful way to activate the DNA. And then when you are doing nothing, you can think about, what would you like to bring forward? What would I like to be able to do? Wow, I want to be a good speller. I've never been good at spelling. I think I want to call forward good spelling. It may sound foolish to some of you, but for someone it might be very important. Or whatever you want. You want to be a better cook. You activating the DNA is going to give you the confidence to perform skills and tasks and to have great enjoyment doing it. Activating the DNA is going to allow you to be more fully human, using the energy of all your chakras, especially your heart chakra, while you become more aware of the larger story of existence. That's very important. But most important is the quality of life that you live and the quality of the love that you share with those that you live with. The quality of that love is why you come here to earth. You all come for love. Oh, many of you have missions, purposes, but you all come for love. Because love in the ethers is not the same as love on earth. And this is what the Anunnaki got trapped into, you know. Big sex thing on earth. This is the big sin. Of course, you know today you send an archaeologist out or anyone out to study an environment. They're supposed to observe. They can't bring other species in. They're not supposed to go out and have affairs with the natives, these kinds of things. They're there to study. As soon as you start playing around, you change the experiment. And of course, this is the big sin that even the Catholic Church is still sorting out, that these fallen angels, allegedly Nephilim, which Nephilim is just another biblical term used to describe the Anunnaki. And then within the Anunnaki came this story of fallen angels. Basically, those fallen angels, one could say in the vernacular, you have a term on your world called horny, yes? Which means you're getting riled up. Your hormones are juicy. You want to have sex. These Anunnaki, they wanted sex after a while. The males, they saw the females of Earth after many millennia have passed, and they broke the big taboo and said, the guys on Mars, basically, Enki did it first, actually. Then the guys on Mars, the Igigi, as they are called. These are the fallen ones, supposedly. And then through them, the race of giants was born, but they were giants themselves, and so it goes, so it goes. So you are still sorting all of this out today. It's important to understand that. Yet, the quality of life that you live with the one you love, or the loved ones that you have, the way you treat your parents, the way your parents have treated you. Of course, you could cringe a little bit on both ends at times. You are humans, you make mistakes. But ideally, what you teach each other and the comfort that you offer each other, think about the things that you were taught. How to do this, how to do that. This is the quality of life that enhances your DNA. When you pass on valuable skills, and when you love the earth, and would not do any harm to earth, this is the advancement of your DNA. Who has a good question?
Peace, this is Asha.
Asha, welcome.
I have a question about, you talk about between lives and how we choose the person we come into and the environment, etc. I'm curious, you may have spoken of this before.
And so just to repeat, she is asking about between lives and how we choose which reality to incarnate into. Please continue.
As a person is pregnant and as the being is forming inside of the body,
Yes.
what is the choice then of the soul coming in to enter, not enter, it's not what I want? What goes on there? What are the circumstances?
They can be as varied and as gentle or extreme as there are types of people on the planet. Some are very clear, boom, boom, I'm in, this is the line I want. I've been here before, I am returning to my ancestral line. I tend to reincarnate into it every 100 or 200 years. I'm following this line, boom, I'm in. They're established, they're this. The greater sense of consciousness in a soul, the greater accumulation of consciousness, the greater flexibility and choice. If a soul comes in and blows it, and does really, really destructive things to themselves, to the planet, to other people, the choices are not going to be that grand. And they may have to wait for a qualifying slot. And the oversoul or the grander soul may give them a shove down the slide when the time comes. In other words, there's your birthing oven. This mom and dad, they're getting ready for you. And sometimes the soul says, I don't want to enter. I don't think I can handle this, I'll just go in for a little while. Every event has a purpose. And this is why we say to you, don't cheat, don't lie, don't steal, do good acts. It's going to benefit you in the long run. It's going to give you a greater dignity of the kinds of life you qualify for. When you mess up, you go back to the back of the line. You end up scrubbing toilets in the ether, and then you qualify for starting all over again. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The very best book to read on this is called The Education of Oversoul 7 by Jane Roberts. Anyone read that book? Yes. And in that book, oh, there's the beeper. There was Tweety. She was going to be born. She didn't want to come in. She wasn't sure. She was reluctant. This helps explain to some extent pregnancies and why there are miscarriages and things of this nature. Your doctors will focus it solely on physicality or diet or some kind of poisons or something, but there's large cooperation between the spirit world and physical reality. And often the mother and father will dream for a while and work with the incoming soul in the dream state before the pregnancy begins, and then certainly after the pregnancy begins there's a long-term dreaming. Some women may take long time getting pregnant because of, in today's world, they won't slow down enough to make a nest, and the souls don't want to come in because they can see they're going to be cooked, and then they won't be healthy. Young women today think nothing of sticking their cell phones and their computers right up against their baby bump, and they're microwaving their babies. You see why the reluctance there is of some souls to come in to the wealthier world now? And why the souls may want to come pouring in if they want to be here in less wealthy clients, because they're not as exposed. Yet today it's everywhere. It's difficult. It is going to be more difficult to come in healthy as a baby. Absolutely. Because today the mothers may have the healthiest drinks And they may jog and do all this stuff, and then they toast themselves with electronics. And so there's no common sense. It's just trendy, cool, trendy, cool, trendy, cool. I'll just do what everyone tells me to do. Where's the common sense? Where's the grandmothers and the mothers passing on the knowledge of the ages? Where's the grandfathers and the fathers passing on to their sons? Hey, son, you'd better protect the family jewels. Laptops. What do you think laptops do? They toast your lap. Right? Nobody's answering because you've all been guilty at it. You see why we are frustrated with you? Because you do stupid things, then you want answers to fix the stupidity without changing the behavior. Someone gave that's good. It's time to face up to some things. You can produce still good life, but you better really clean up your act. As we've said for years, it's very difficult now for babies to be born clear and healthy. You have this huge autism, and then all of this ADD, ADHD, all these letters. People can't focus and pay attention anymore. They can't think. And then you have the Alzheimer's at the other end. They're not clear enough to know how to die. So then they become part of medical experimentation. Think about these things. If there's one important thing we all want to get clear about, it's that when it comes time for you to leave the planet and you are finished with your job, you want a clear, clean, easy exit. No muss, no fuss, no big expense. Understand? That's conditioning your space. But in the meantime, that's a long way off. What's most immediate are the growling stomachs. It's lunchtime. Now we want you to write out a little intention on your lunch hour. And then we want you to discuss with others, whoever you're going to lunch with, what the churches, the religions may have hidden away. Just psychically, and we'll see this afternoon what you come up with, all right? Let's lift the vibration up and pick up the energies really good and have a good time. We'll see you this afternoon.